Please note that this content is for educational purposes and for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. More details available in the description box.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another live stream with me, Grizzly. This is Grizzly True Crime, and today we are back to talk about the Idaho case, known in the media as the Idaho Four case. I'm sure you know quite a bit about it if you've been here for a while. We do have a playlist for you which is linked in the description box, and if you do want to expand the description box and just have a read through about the case background, trial dates, things like that, you can. We'll do a very quick, like super quick little recap, and then just look at the timeline one more time, okay? Speedily. Today's a bullet points live stream. I just want to go over some of these new filings, which have been very interesting because for the longest time, we all wondered what was said on that 911 call. So we can't hear the call yet, but we've got some transcripts from that have been unsealed. And what were the surviving roommates saying to each other in the time? There were 8 hours between the time of the murders when they happened and the time that, well, almost 8 hours, the time that 911 was called. So what was going on in the home and all of that, right? So we're going to be going over that today. Welcome everyone. Welcome moderators, patrons, members, subscribers, any locals in chat. This case takes place in Idaho. Of course, the suspect, Bryan Kohberger, was arrested in Pennsylvania at his parents' house. So that's the, let's get into the little presentation and then I could give you a proper little recap. Hold on one second. Please like and share so others can also find us. There's a lot obviously always happening in true crime. And if you guys like and share, it helps people know that they have the choice to come and watch here with us. Thank you for being here. Happy Friday to all of you. Lastly, I do want to say I will have a members only stream, a YouTube member stream on Sunday, the 9th of March. The link is on my community post. And if you are a member, you should get the notification 30 minutes before. And, you know, at the time I go live. Currently it's set for, but the clocks are changing in America, so let me not say a time, but it's set for, let's say, around 4 p.m. Eastern, something like that, right? And it's, I want to see you on my birthday. So that's what we're doing. Sunday, 9th of March is my birthday. So that's what we'll be doing, just so that members know as well. Carla said, thanks to Mini Grizzly having the flu, I made it live. Well, thank you, Mini Grizzly, for having the flu. You said, yay, for 19 months, I don't get the flu. It was meant to be, Carla. Thank you so much for being a member for 19 months. Okay. Shava says, G used his middle name. He is in such big trouble. Bryan Kohberger. Okay, so November 13th of 2022. I mean, this photo, every single time I see it, I know I've said it a few times, I'm just like, oh my word, my heart just breaks. It's just unbelievable what happened in this house. This 1122 King Road, which is actually Queen Road, but 1122 King Road, according to the legal documents. Kaylee Goncalves, 21, Madison Mogen, 21, Xana Kernodle, 20, and Ethan Chapin, 20, were stabbed to death in their off-campus home at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. Now, sometimes people get a little bit, I don't know what to say, snarky or what about the order of the names. There's no particular order of the names. I'm just writing it. I want to write all 4 names, okay? Nobody's picking favorites out of 4 murder victims. I think if anyone's doing that, that's pretty terrible. So, okay, 2 roommates in the home were left unharmed. We're going to hear about those text messages today. 2 roommates, okay, were left unharmed in the home, DM and BF. The murders took place in the early morning hours between 4 and 4:25 a.m. of November 13th of 2022. A 911 call was made at 11:55 a.m. on November 13th of 2022, almost 8 hours after the murders occurred. DM had told the police that she had seen a masked figure around 4 a.m. but had locked herself in a room. She had opened the door 3 times, and so she was relaying to the police what she had seen. We'd recently discussed, so go and check out that recent live stream, which is also on the playlist for you, that she saw, you know, bushy brows and that she saw someone holding a vacuum type object, which we speculated what that could be, right? So, okay, so we've gone over that. The Wheeze, welcome as well. Andy said, I wonder why Dylan called her dad around 10:30 before the police, so odd. I guess that's the person she felt safest to call, but I'm only speculating. I have no idea what they were thinking and feeling at the time. I can only imagine that hopefully none of us have ever been in a situation like this, in a home like this, where something like this happened. And I just think it would be difficult to imagine what we would be doing, as much as it's common sense to say, if something's off and you can text and you can call 911, I understand that argument. And I also understand the argument where people have a lot of empathy for the surviving roommates and saying they must have been in fear and they said they were in this frozen shock phase. And I'm actually understanding both sides of the argument right now. I'm just on the fence because I don't know. We don't know everything. We only know little bits of what's trickling out, you know? Okay, so we looked at this last time. And so let's just go onto the timeline quickly here. November 13th of 2022. This is a presentation that I had before, and it's just, I think this will change over time, you know? Every time there's new documents and new facts coming out, you know, you got to tweak it, change it, do things. So let's just take this with a grain of salt for now. It's kind of the timeline that we know for now. Frankie Kangalosi said, I'm here in Idaho and close with the families, not Ethan's, Dylan's, or Bethany's, and it's so good to see this information made public. We've known all along and had to watch people doubt his guilt. Interesting, Frankie. Please send our regards from all the Grizzlies to the families that you are in contact with, and I hope they know that we have their backs, and this is just so devastating. Okay, so November 13th of 2022. Between 9 p.m. and 1:45 a.m., Xana and Ethan were at the Sigma Chi party, and BF, one of the surviving roommates, saw them there. Between 10 p.m. and 1:56 a.m., Kaylee and Maddie were at the corner club, the food truck, then home. Remember how many times we looked at the food truck video? 2:26 to 2:52 a.m., 10 calls were made to Kaylee's ex-boyfriend. He didn't pick up at the time. Shame. I hope that he doesn't feel guilty at all about that. It's not his fault at all, right? Now, 4 a.m., Xana, and wait, and I don't think it had to do necessarily, because look at the time. I don't think it had to do with the crime at all. It was just that Kaylee was just trying to call him and he missed the calls, right? At 4 a.m., Xana receives a DoorDash. At approximately 4 a.m., DM, one of the surviving roommates, was woken up by the sound of what she thought was Kaylee playing with Murphy the dog on the 3rd floor. So this house is very unique, okay? It was very unique in its structure. Of course, they've now demolished it. So there would be the ground floor, so call that 1. DM was on the 2nd floor, and then Kaylee on the 3rd floor, unless you go 0, 1, 2 or 1, 2, 3. It's easier to go 1, 2, 3 or ground 1, 2, whichever way you prefer. But DM was on the middle floor, and the top floor is where Kaylee and Maddie were, right? So at 4:04 a.m. there was an Elantra allegedly seen driving eastbound on King Road, and shortly after 4 a.m. DM hears there's someone here, and she thinks it was Kaylee that said that, but she also thinks that it could have been Xana that said that. Okay, so this is the last little bit of recap we're doing, then we're going to dive into those documents that I'm sure you're all waiting to hear about. Even though I'm sure you've heard them elsewhere, they're all over the place, everybody's talking about it, and we need to talk about it too. Blue Eyes crying, whoa, thank you for being a member for 30 months. Oh my word. So at 4:12 a.m., Xana was on TikTok. At 4:13 a.m., DM opens her bedroom door and she thinks she hears someone crying coming from Xana's room, which was on the same level as DM, and she hears a male voice say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Now, if that male voice really said that, that is so eerie, given the context of the case and the crime and what happened. It's just like, whoa. Imagine if that was the killer saying that. Oh my goodness. So at 4:17 a.m., surveillance camera on Queen Road picks up distorted audio, which was a dog barking, probably Murphy, a whimper, and a thud. Do you guys remember when there were YouTubers faking those calls? What? Faking that noise, the noise of the ring cams. Like, why would somebody do that? I don't know. Let's not ever get into the drama, but I just remember that. And I'm like, oh my word. Anyway, so at 4:18 a.m., DM opens her door again for a 3rd time, and she sees the bushy eyebrow figure dressed in black wearing a mask. And at 4:20 a.m., the vehicle exits the area at high speed. And at 4:25 a.m., the homicides are over, according to investigators, right? So we have that, and also I hope that you know the trial dates and all of that as well. It's set for August 11th, I think they said. But again, I'm putting that in pencil. The jury selection is set to start on July 31st of 2025, and the trial is expected to last from August 11th of 2025 to November 7th. And obviously there's a new judge, there's a new venue. Bryan Kohberger is in a new jail in Ada County, so that's what we have so far. Now we're going to look at the documents, okay? So I just want to give you the summary today because the documents can get very lengthy. I know we love documents over here and we never get bored of them, but I want to make sure that you have the information in minimal time today because there's so many. As I say, there's hundreds of documents that have been filed that you can read. It's all on the state of Idaho judicial branch. If you type in Idaho cases of public interest, you will find the link there. It's also in the description box. And my goodness, you can have a read through. The defense is filing everything possible, obviously, to defend the client who's facing the death penalty in this case. So we've seen this in other cases as well, like in Madeline Soto's case. Stefan Stearns' defense team is filing so much because he's also facing the death penalty. Of course, that's in Florida. So Indie Girl said, I'm so proud to be a Grizzly. Thank you so much for all your hard work, G. Thank you so much. Raina said the jury selection will be difficult. I think it would be easier now that they've moved to a new county, but then again, and also I always feel like I would also think it's going to be so difficult, but not everybody watches true crime. Not everybody follows these cases, you know. I guess if you'd walk around there and you ask people, have you heard about the case? Probably not. You know, they're not deep diving it like we usually are. And Endu said, I was reading they found his DNA under one of the victim's nails. We're going to discuss that. So what are we going to look at today? I'm focusing out of the hundreds of documents because we could sit here for hours and read through all of them. I find them all interesting, but I'm a nerd like that. I don't know if everyone's like that. I think most of us are. But what we're going to be looking at is that we're going to look at the text messages between the two surviving roommates that morning after the murders occurred, okay? Because you just saw the timeline. Investigators say they believe the murders occurred between 4 and 4:25 a.m. So here they say from 4:22 a.m. to 4:24, they're talking about text messages between, so it's actually during, at that time, between the two surviving roommates, when they're hearing things and they're trying to get hold of their other roommates, the 4 that were murdered and all of that, okay? We're going to look at the text messages. We're going to read the unsealed transcripts of the 911 call that was made, and we're also going to be discussing the DNA that was found under one of the victim's fingernails, like from the fingernail clippings. We're going to look at that as well, and hopefully I will do a good job of explaining that because I see it's caused quite a bit of controversy out there. And I'm like, oh my word. Tammy Joe said, thank you for all your hard work. Thank you so much, Tammy Joe. I really appreciate you. All right, so check this out. They said in the case at the bar, so again, I'm starting on page 4 of 10 just so we can get to the nitty gritty. We want to see now what is going on here. What is happening, okay? So they said in the case at bar starting on November 13th of 2022 at 2:10:29, DM sends a text message to EG, which is the Uber driver, to inquire if he is driving. The state submits this text message exchange is not hearsay because it will not be offered for the truth of the matter asserted, i.e. EG's driving status. Instead, it will be offered to show a timeline for the night, i.e. DM was awake and texting at 2:10:29 a.m. From 4:19 to 4:21, DM attempts to call BF. Xana Kernodle, she attempts to call the other surviving roommates, and then Xana Kernodle, Kaylee Goncalves, and Madison Mogen, all calls went unanswered. Okay, and that was as you see there, from 4:19 to 4:21. So she must have had a gut feel of like, oh my word, something is going on. Let me try and call them all to see what's happening. So she tried to call BF, Xana, Kaylee, and Madison. All calls unanswered. Now we know because they were deceased. They had just been stabbed to death, okay? The records of these calls are not hearsay as they each do not meet the definition of a statement, oral assertion, written assertion, or nonverbal conduct intended as an assertion. Now, let me make it bigger for you. How about that? This should be good. So from 4:22:08 to 4:24:27, DM and BF, those are the two surviving roommates in the home, send the following text message. No one is answering. So that's DM to BF. No one is answering because she just tried to call everyone. DM says, I'm really confused right now. Then DM texts Kaylee and she says, Kaylee, what's going on? Then BF replies to DM and says, yeah, dude, WTF, which means what the F, right? And then BF to DM says, Xana was wearing all black. So BF, so that would be, it's very hard with these, I know why they do it, but it's difficult sometimes. I hope you're following, right? B in Bethany. Okay, so BF to DM says Xana was wearing all black, which is interesting. I guess she's trying to offer her friend, the other surviving roommate, an explanation of like, you saw someone dressed all in black, but Xana was wearing all black, you know? So then DM says, I'm freaking out right now. No, it's like ski mask almost. And then BF to DM says STFU, which means shut the F up. And BF to DM says, actually, and then DM to BF says, like he had something over his head and little endy mouth. So over his head and over his mouth. Sometimes if you're typing fast, I'm sure you guys know, I don't know, probably, right? I'm on my phone all the time. If you're typing really fast, then there could be auto spell that, you know, fills in the blanks like that, or there could be a mistake made or something. So like he had something over his head and over his mouth is what I would think is what she's trying to say. And again, I'm just speculating. I don't know exactly what she was trying to say, but that would make sense to me. So basically, DM on that second floor, the middle floor. Okay, so there's the ground floor, the middle floor, the top floor. On the middle floor, Xana and Ethan lived there, and so did DM. And then on the top floor was Kaylee and Maddie. And DM is trying to get hold of everyone. She can't get hold of anyone. Now she's talking to, she can get hold of one person, and that's the other surviving roommate. And she's trying to explain to her, there was like this intruder dressed all in black and saying no one's answering. I'm really confused. Kaylee, what's going on? And then BF first says, well, Xana was wearing all black. And DM's like, I'm freaking out right now. No, it's like a ski mask almost. Actually, like he had something over his head and his mouth. And then DM to BF says, BF, I'm not kidding. I'm so freaked out. And then BF says, so am I. And then DM says, my phone is going to die. F. And then BF says, come to my room. Run down here. So let's see what you guys are thinking about this so far. Yeah. Karen G said, I'd imagine if you're panicking, you can easily miss touch letters on a phone. Exactly. Denise says, and I wanted to say this as well, there are convos missing clearly and or info because we've always heard DM saw the guy in black, so why would BF make that? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think this is a little bit cherry picked in what they are presenting in this. Okay, I don't think this is a cohesive, complete text message thread, because if it was, I would also think that instead of saying what's going on and then BF saying, yeah, dude, WTF, and Xana was wearing all black, that would not just come out of nowhere. There would have to be a conversation of, I saw this, there was a guy in our house, like all dressed all in black with maybe bushy eyebrows, carrying a vacuum type object, if that's, you know, that's what she says she saw. So there must be more to this conversation, which is why I think it's interesting, but we've just got to take it for what we can, you know, meaning, remember, the public, in any case, even if we have all these documents, the PCA, of course, starting with that, all the documents, if we have body cam, if we have calls and things, we still only know about 50% of what's really going on before the trial. And we watch a lot of trials here at Grizzly True Crime, so I'm sure you know that. When we watch trials, we're like, oh my word, no matter how much we deep dive, how much we prepare, what we think we know, when it comes to the trial, so much more information comes out, right? So, yeah, we got to just remember that they're showing some things, but not everything. But nonetheless, I do find this very interesting, and this does tell me that they were very scared. That's what I read from it. Let me know what you read from it. I know that some people are really like, they don't understand this. Like, why would they be scared and not call 911 or the police? But it was a house where lots of students came in and out. There was always partying. There were things. Who knows? Maybe they just thought, I don't know, maybe it's like a bit drastic to call the police, but like, what's going on? I'm really scared, and I saw this guy in the house, and I don't know if I should leave my room now, if I should run, what I should do. Who knows? Southern Cali B said, I trust G to defluff the docs. Like she does trials. I don't have G's amazing patience. Thank you, Southern Cali B. That's the thing, catering to all of us who just want to get to it. Okay, so all of the above declarations are present, sense, impressions, and excited utterances. So they say this is supported by DM's grand jury testimony, where she indicates she just witnessed a startling event, i.e. heard noises in the residence, saw an unknown male in the residence. The declarations indicate that both BF and DM are trying to make sense of the startling event contemporaneously or immediately following the startling event, i.e. no time for reflection or fabrication. See DM's grand jury testimony attached Exhibit S3. At 4:24:39, DM calls Ethan Chapin, which is one of the victims, right? call unanswered. This phone record, like the other record of calls, is not a statement pursuant to IRE 801A. DM and BF continue to text. At 4:24:58, DM texts BF, and now this looks like screwed though. I think scared. I think that's scared. Let's go back up to this quickly here and see. They said this was between 4:22 and 4:24:27. So if this was at 4:24:58, that would be the response to BF saying, come to my room, run down here. And I think this would, again, I'm just speculating. I have no idea what she was trying to say, but I don't think it means I'm screwed though. I think it means I'm scared though. And BF responds saying, yeah, I know, but it's better than being alone. See, then it makes sense. Again, both statements are admissible as present tense impressions and excited utterances as they are describing an event or their state of mind and are spontaneous reactions to that event rather than the result of reflective thought. At 4:27:47, DM calls Goncalves, Kaylee, call unanswered. At 4:28, DM calls Kernodle, call unanswered. Shame. These are not statements, okay? At 4:32, pursuant to. At 4:32:57, DM sends a message to Goncalves stating, please answer. This statement is a present sense impression. It shows the DM's perception of events and an excited utterance, spontaneous reaction to that event, rather than the result of reflective thought. The next morning, DM sends the following text messages. See, now this is now the next morning. So I don't know what's exactly happening between that time, 4:32 and 10:23. So maybe they pass out, they're hiding in their rooms, I don't know. So the next morning, DM sends the following text messages starting at 10:23. DM to Kaylee, please answer. DM to Madison Mogen, are you up? DM to Kaylee Goncalves, are you up? These text messages are not hearsay because they will be introduced for the truth of the matter asserted. And so they continue with a legal argument there. So I just want to get to the messages for you. At 11:39:09, DM has a text exchange with her father, BM. BM would be the father's initials, I guess. These statements are not hearsay, and they also explain that. Okay, so that's what someone was saying earlier. Why would she text her father? Why wouldn't she? If he's like the safest person she knows, if she's scared, if she's like, I don't know what to do, really, I don't know what's going on, I'm even too scared to open my door, maybe even based on what the sounds that she heard, we don't know. But maybe, I don't know, she texted her father. These statements are not hearsay, as they said there. At 11:50, so that would be 11 minutes later, DM receives a text message that just says J, stating, bro. This text message will not be introduced for the truth of the matter asserted. At 11:58, DM calls EA. I think that could be. Here's Jules. I think I was watching Jules's. If you guys don't watch Jules, she goes through every document and has been doing it for a long time. She knows I can't say it any other way. She knows her shit. She knows things, okay? Like you have gone through every single document since the case started, right? So Jules, it's like speak of the devil. I was just about to speak about you. I was saying that you were saying that EA could be someone called Emily, I think. Jules with True Crime Reactions says, I was rushing through all the legal, the legal mumbo jumbo too, girl. I was there, okay? I was just maybe lurking a little bit. But there I was. Thank you for being here, Jules. And oh my word, you've been a member for 15 months as well. So Jules is snarky like us, you guys, if you didn't know. All right, so here we go. They say this. DM receives a text message from Jay at 11:51:01 and a vandal alert at 1:04:01. These texts are not hearsay because they will not be introduced for the truth of the matter asserted, but instead to show a timeline for the morning. We heard about that vandal alert before, and now there's a couple of, and it's not all, couple of blanks being filled in, right? Okay, so DM and BF testimony contained in State's Exhibit S2 and State's Exhibit S3. The state anticipates that both DM and BF will testify at trial. Now, we like to see that in writing. Whether they will be, the other day on X, I was saying, ooh dear, I don't know if they're going to be credible witnesses. I didn't mean that ugly. I didn't mean it ugly. I mean, could DM be a reliable witness because she herself admits that she doesn't know if it was reality or not. Was it real? Was it not? She said she was drunk. She could have been high for all we know. We don't know, okay? I don't know what she had ingested that day. but she was saying drunk. The judge was also saying that. Okay. And then she's got like this art on her wall of all these eyes and eyebrows and all of that. Actually, that was something we should have gone over too. We will at some stage. Like there's all this art on the wall as well. Okay, and so what if she was like in a, I don't know, drunk state and seeing all these eyebrows on the wall and being like, I saw bushy eyebrows, who knows? So I was meaning that, like, will she be okay on the stand? Oh my word, can you guys imagine the cross-examination? Like I meant it, like I feel bad for her. Like you're going to put her on the stand with such a blurry, fuzzy memory of the worst night of her life, especially in hindsight, meaning all her friends, well, 4 out of 4 of her friends were murdered in the house. Ooh, that's going to be, I really hope that she has a lot of support and a counselor and all of that. And I don't know. I feel nervous for her already, right? I think she's got important information, but at the same time, I just worry about it a little bit. April B12 said, thank you for all you do, G. Happy early birthday. Thank you so much. So they will testify at the trial. That's what they anticipate. The state anticipates. The state intends to ask each witness about statements made to them on November 13th of 2022. This testimony should substantively replicate the testimony that they provided at the grand jury proceeding. Again, I think that would mean statements made to them, especially what did DM say to BF? That's going to be very important. And BF getting on that stand and saying, what did DM say to you? What did she see? What did she hear? What did you see? What did you hear? Right? Okay. So they say that I think the rest is pretty much, if I didn't highlight it, I'm not reading it to you today. Now we're going to get to, this is, let me just go back up here. The 911 call, yeah. This one, okay, so we've got text messages, check, we've gone over that, right? We've spoken about the bushy eyebrow art as well. Okay, so 911 call to Whitcomb on November 13th of 2022. The 911 call was made at 11:58 a.m. That is, this is like the biggest topic of contention on the internet. Anyone who covers this case, anyone who follows is like, why in the hell did they wait from 4:25 to 11:58 to call 911? I understand. And as I said earlier, I understand both sides of the argument. I just don't know. So I'm rather just not I just don't know. I don't know why. I know that many of us will say, we would have called, see something, say something, right? You hear something, you say something, you call 911, but we just don't know all the circumstances. We just don't know. So I'll leave it at that. I'd still try my very best at all times to give them the benefit of the doubt and to not blame them or shame them, because I don't know. I don't know what the situation was, what they saw, what they heard and everything. But as I say, there's always lessons in true crime, you know, and I just hope that people know that it's okay to call 911 immediately. Don't worry about bothering the police. The police had been to that house before. Don't know if they were like, oh no, we don't want to call them to the house now. We don't want to get anyone in trouble now. No, do it. It's call especially if you're feeling so scared, right? Rob said, that is baffling. Okay, so in the case at bar, most of the declarations made were present sense impressions. This now is about the 911 call. So we looked at the text messages happening early morning hours between the surviving roommates, okay? Now we're looking at the 911 call, and they've unsealed some of these transcripts of the call. Again, is it everything or not? I don't know. It seems like it, but let's see. Most of the declarations made were present sense impressions. HJ, I think that is Ethan's brother, Hunter. HJ located the unresponsive body of Xana Kernodle and informed BF and DM to call 911. So somebody went in there, maybe they called that person over, and they went in the house and found the unresponsive body of Xana Kernodle. All right, and informed BF and DM to call 911. EA was present at the time. All declarants personally perceived the event, i.e. Kernodle, unresponsive. The majority of the declarations were describing to dispatcher Carolina Kelvin that they were perceiving, i.e. present tense impressions. Those statements relate to Kernodle being passed out and not waking up. Now, we always wondered, because we'd heard things, okay? We'd seen the PCA and we'd heard things of like, oh. So they called to say that somebody was unresponsive. So did one of the surviving roommates like pass out outside? Did somebody go inside, see the crime scene and then pass out and they were unresponsive? Or were they literally referring to one of the victims? It seems like obviously they were referring to Xana, which is interesting because on this call they're not mentioning like a lot of blood, a crime scene, all of that, which there was. But as we've speculated before, sometimes the dispatcher will ask some leading questions like, are they breathing right now? Like, think about Ellen Greenberg's case, if you followed that. Think of that 911 call. It's pretty sus. But that 911 call is like, is she breathing? Can you perform CPR? And then that guy, her fiance at the time, was like, oh my word, there's a knife sticking out of her chest. You know what I mean? That could be an example of maybe what was going on here, of like, what do you see? Are they breathing? Are they responsive? The leading questions could be why they're saying unresponsive. I'm just trying to make sense of it. And the Frog says, definitely no shame for this victim. I hope she's able to find peace one day. Well, both of them, right? Yeah, thank you so much, Ange. I really appreciate it. Okay, so EA was present at the time, and they say the statements relate to Kernodle. It's Xana Kernodle. Here are the pictures of the victims, by the way. Xana, Kaylee, Maddie, Ethan, right? So Xana being passed out and not waking up. The declarations were made immediately after HJ discovered Kernodle's body. Some declarations made would also be considered excited utterances. Those statements include, oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. See, that's like secondhand information, like relaying to, and tell them we saw a guy in our house last night, probably, right? Yeah, as well as the heaving, the heaving breathing, the heavy breathing, the heaving, the breathing, okay, and crying that can be heard throughout the call. So everybody around that phone was very distressed. The declarants were responding to a startling occasion, discovery of unresponsive roommate. The statement regarding a person being in the home is in direct response to why Kernodle might be passed out. All statements are made while the declarants are processing what is happening and were made before an opportunity to reflect and fabricate why Kernodle is unconscious. Clearly, the statements of BF, DM, EA, and HJ, and the dispatcher, Carolina Calvin, fall within the hearsay rule exceptions. Judge John Judge, the new judge on the case, Judge Hippler, has already ruled that the 911 call is not hearsay, and so they go into their legal argument. So now I'm going to just scroll down to get to the transcripts that we want to read. Okay, right here. Grand jury transcript sealed, yet we can see it. We like to read it with our own eyes and see what did they say. So let's quickly see. Donut, Erica said something to remember. They didn't discover the bodies, then not call for 7 hours. They were scared and avoiding the situation. That's true as well. You said denial and fear took over. I mean, yeah, it's not like they saw that their friends had been murdered and then they decided not to call. They didn't know. They just knew they were scared, from what we know. Also, they may have not called the police because, like, DM is said to have been drunk and she would have, I think, been underage at the time. So it could be that as well. They could have just been like, we don't want to call them. Like in the state, we don't know what's going on. They just know they're scared, right? Okay, so grand jury transcript. Here we go. Audio file and thumb drive, hand delivered separately. Sealed, states motion in limine regarding the 911 call. Okay, so it says 911 call, Q equals dispatch, Q1 equals man, Q2 equals woman 1, and so they go. Okay? Q, so the dispatch. 911, location of your emergency. Hi. Something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what. We have, what is the address of the emergency? 1122, no, don't. What is the rest of the address? Oh, Kings Road. Okay. And is that a house or an apartment? It's a house. Now, I'll just put a side note in. I'm sure when you guys hear it's a house, don't you think of Alec Murdaugh? Do you remember that moment on his 911 call? It was like, it's a house. Do you remember that? Oh my word. Okay, so when I read that, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not saying that they were talking like that. It just pops in my true crime mind of like, it's a house. Okay. Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right? I'll talk to you guys. We live at the right, so we're next to them. And dispatch says, I need someone to repeat the address for verification. The address? 1122 King Road. And what's the phone number that you're calling from? What's your phone number? And then that's redacted, of course. What's the rest? Okay, and tell me exactly what's going on. One of the roommates who's passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she's not waking up. And then another one says, no, we saw, okay. Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah. Hi. And are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone. Stop passing it around. So everybody's freaking out and they're passing this phone around. Like, you talk, you talk, you talk, you say, oh my word. Okay, so there was a guy in the house and then one of the roommates is like completely unconscious or unresponsive. Remember? Okay, so everyone's freaking out and they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Dispatch is like, okay, I need someone to keep the phone. Stop passing it around. Then they say, can I just tell you what happened pretty much? What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now? And the answer is, I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m. Okay, I need to know what's going on right now. If someone is passed out, can you find that out? Yeah, I'll come. Okay, come on, we gotta go check. But we have to. Is she passed out? She's passed out. What's wrong? Dispatching Moscow Law Ambulance 4, and they say, she's not waking up. Dispatch, unconscious, 1122 King Road. 70 is en route. Okay, one moment, I'm getting help started that way. Okay, maybe, and then unintelligible, 1122 King Road. All ambulance respond for unconscious. You see how it went. You see, it was like leading questions are like, whoa, 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 calm down. Because like, okay, it was like 4 a.m. and there was a guy in the house. And then like, there's a person here who's like unresponsive. They're trying to relay the information, but clearly people were freaking out, which that makes sense. So 1122 King Road, all ambulance respond for unconsciousness. 1122 King Road, I copy. Unintelligible 58, multiple RPs on the phone, advice saying the roommate on scene is passed out and not waking up, believes she got drunk last night, and unintelligible about a male being in the room with him. Unintelligible being around. That one I copy about 20-year-old female unconscious trying to get further. Copy. Yeah, it's Evan. Okay, and how old is she? She's 20? 20 you said? Yes, 20. Here, do you want to talk to him? Okay. Hello? Okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people. So the dispatcher is getting like, oh my word, just one person, please just answer the questions. Okay, sorry, they just gave me the phone. Is she breathing? Hello? Is she breathing? No. Okay. Unintelligible en route. B, F, or, well, they say Bethany or Dylan. I need you to talking to them. Okay, I can't talk to them. I need you to talk to them. Okay, hello? Okay, I've already sent the ambulance and law enforcement. Stay on the line. Okay. Is there a defibrillator available? Send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it. Units responding, RPs advising. Unintelligible. The patient is not conscious, not breathing. Unintelligible. Okay. If there's a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it. We don't have one. Unconscious, not breathing. Do you have a defibrillator? So I think this is obviously between all the dispatch people, the ambulance is going, everything. Yep, yes, we have one. But are you talking to the officer? Yes. Okay, I'm going to let you go since he's there with you and can help you. Okay, thank you. Bye. Okay. Moscow 46 out. Copy. 13, I think we have a homicide. Moscow engine 20 is en route. 1370, 70, unintelligible. 107, I relayed it. I hope that you followed, given the tone. The tone of my voice. I was trying to make sure that you could just follow without me the whole time reading out Q and then A and then Q. That'll make it confusing. Okay? So, court locus said most of us will go our whole lives without feeling the way these poor scared kids felt that morning. They will have to live their whole lives with what happened in that house and survivor's guilt. Yeah, shame. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now we get to the DNA, right? This is motion in limine number 5 regarding inconclusive DNA. And they say this is now causing a lot of, as I say, controversy online. Some people read it and they were like, oh my word, Bryan Kohberger's DNA is under Madison Mogen's fingernails. But no, that's not what it says. How'd you get there? When I read it, I'm like, do I have to read this again and again and again? I don't get there. I don't know how they got there. So anyway, comes now Bryan C. Kohberger, by and through his attorneys of records, and hereby moves the court for an order limiting testimony about the statistical analysis of item Q13.1, fingernail scraping. So what we've gone over so far today, I'm focusing on 3 things. Number 1, the text messages between the 2 surviving roommates. Number 2, the transcripts of the 911 call. And you can hear why they said unconscious. And now, number 3, the DNA that's inconclusive under Madison Mogen's fingernails, okay? So, allowing such testimony would violate Mr. Kohberger's federal and state constitutional rights to due process, a fair trial, effective assistance of counsel, and confrontation of witnesses. This motion is based on the 5th, 6th, 14th Amendments to the United States Constitution, Idaho Constitution article, and all of that, okay? So all of that. Statement of facts. In grand jury testimony, Jade Miller testified as to the results of testing done on item Q 13.1. A swab of the left fingernail clippings from Madison Mogen, MM. The data consisted of a 3-person mixture. The statistic, the likelihood ratio, LR, was calculated assuming that Madison Mogen was a contributor to her own fingernails. That makes sense to me. Miller testified that Madison Mogen, as followed, and that's redacted. The data from that sample was redacted as to Mr. Kohberger. G. Grand jury transcript at 365, 366. Miller testified that inconclusive means that an analyst is, and that's redacted. So it's pretty difficult to read it like that when it's so redacted. Okay, Miller went on to explain that the likelihood ratio for Mr. Kohberger, and that's redacted. So the argument is, the use of misleading language confuses and misleads the finder of fact and is barred by the rules 402 and 403, as well as due process, in that the evidence is overly prejudicial. The erroneous admission of irrelevant and prejudicial evidence will offend due process when it renders a trial fundamentally unfair. Here, expanding beyond the language of the report would prejudice Mr. Kohberger in that it might allow the jury to infer that the inconclusive data would mean that he might be included. LRs are different from traditional statistics that courts and juries are used to seeing and hearing. The LR is a comparison of hypotheses. It's not a statement of identity or probability of identity. It simply asks the question, given the data, which hypotheses tested is more likely? For item Q 13.1, Madison Mogen's fingernail clippings from her left hand, both hypotheses tested for each individual assumed that Madison Mogen's DNA was present. So when the lab generated an LR laid out above, the hypotheses tested were Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, and one unknown unrelated person versus Madison Mogen and 2 unrelated persons. This comparison was done for all the individuals listed in the report number 7 and for Mr. Kohberger in report number 26. At the ISP lab, any number greater than 100 is considered a conclusive result, indicating inclusion. Any number less than 0.01 is considered a conclusive result, indicating exclusion. Thus, if an LR falls within the range of 0.01 to 100, the lab cannot draw any conclusions and the data is reported as inconclusive. We've seen that in cases, right? When it's like, what, that was inconclusive? Sometimes it is. In her testimony, Miller did not provide a full context to the analysis. The lab reported a series of LRs for item 13.1, including an LR of, and then they give all the numbers, right? All these individuals sit in the same shoes as Mr. Kohberger, namely that the LR is exclusionary, but falls in the range of inconclusive. Of interest is that when an LR is calculated for, redacted, thus Mr. Kohberger's inconclusive LR is similar to almost every other person for whom an LR was generated, and focusing on his inconclusive LR would mislead the jury, and I agree with that. Do you agree with that? I'm like, if it's inconclusive, then yeah, I would agree the state can't infer to the jury that it could be him. It probably was him because it's inconclusive. So you can't say that that was him, right? Because as they're saying, it could have been all the other people on the list as well. Okay, so they said it would be, thus Mr. Kohberger's inconclusive LR is similar to almost every other person for whom an LR was generated, and focusing on his inconclusive LR would mislead the jury, in that it implies that the LR means that Mr. Kohberger's DNA might be present in the sample. The court should exclude testimony such as, and that's redacted. Now, more importantly, now this is interesting because they took it a step further, because a lot of times in trials we say, well, why didn't the defense test things then? Yeah, and so they said, more importantly, Mr. Kohberger has disclosed that through further independent lab testing, he is eliminated as a contributor to item 13.1. So the defense did further testing and they eliminated Kohberger as a contributor. according to this document. When Mr. Kohberger sought to overturn the grand jury indictment, he argued that Miller's testimony was inadmissible and misleading. The state argued that the testimony was presented to the grand jury. So the state argued, that's important, that the testimony was presented to the grand jury as exculpatory. That's huge. That's not him then, right? So, and an effort to elicit favorable evidence for Mr. Kohberger. So the state admitted that, okay? The independent lab testing conducted by the defense related to item 13.1, which are the fingernail clippings from Madison Mogen, is indeed exculpatory. Mr. Kohberger is excluded, and the state should be precluded from misleading the jury in any way. So the state cannot twist that and make it like, but it could be him because the defense did extra testing and they ruled him out. You know what I mean? They've excluded him as a contributor of the three-person mixture of DNA under Madison Mogen's fingernails, right? So that's interesting. And I understand why in this case, there are very many interesting conversations that could be had, you know, about reasonable doubt and things like that, okay? Because it could be a little bit like Delphi, you know what I mean? Easily, this case could go that way, or like Karen Reed or something, I don't know. But especially in cases like this, where, you know, we read last time in the last episode a document where they said that there was blood from 2 other unknown males, like DNA that was tested, there was unknown males, one on the handrail and one on a glove outside. And like, what? Why didn't they test that? What is the age of that? When was it there? How much of it was there? I don't know. Many questions that I know that, of course, social media will ask, the public will ask. We don't know. We'll have to just wait to see what comes out at the trial. And Kohberger is the one arrested, accused, of 4 murders. And it's that one speck of DNA and, of course, the cell phone data that they say, and then his supposed vehicle that's around there. They've got a whole bunch of evidence against him. But I do wonder how strong it is. I do understand the argument of, like, how strong is this? Like, is this enough for the state to get a conviction? Whoa, in a death penalty case? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But that is interesting that the defense did their own testing and they eliminated him as one of the contributors. So in simple terms, Kohberger's lawyers are saying the prosecution's DNA evidence from Madison Mogen's fingernails doesn't prove that Kohberger was involved. It's inconclusive at best, and their tests say that he's not even in the mix. Okay? So letting the jury hear that would be confusing or suggestive. And it could unfairly make them think that he's guilty. Okay, interesting. Billy Dillman, welcome. Holly said his DNA was on the knife sheath. Need I say more? Need I say more? There's a lot, right? So let's quickly see. TJ said, why would BK try to use autism as a defense if he was innocent? Well, he's not using it as a defense. He's using it to try to get the death penalty off the table. So we did last time say, would there be documents that we can read where they would like the death penalty removed as punishment, right? Citing autism, saying that he has been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, all of that, okay? There are long documents about that. I just think I think just saying the headline is enough, because going too much into it, it can be a sensitive topic, and I just don't know. I don't know how much weight that would hold in court. Like, you want the death penalty off the table? Because the defense says he's diagnosed with autism. I don't think that qualifies as removing the death penalty. But I don't know, because I'm not a lawyer. You are not alone. Welcome. Also, let me just quickly see how long have we been here. We've been here for 48 minutes or so. I just quickly want to see one thing, because there was one other document, which is the one that I was just telling you about. There's so many of them. Just hold on. I just want to see if I could spot it real quick. But I did give you the highlights of it, of, you know, DM having like artwork of eyebrows and things on the wall. So maybe we could just look at that another time. But yes, if you go to the link in the description box to the documents, you can scroll through all those documents yourself, and you can see there are so many of them. Yeah, there's something about, I just want to quickly see. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. Quick scroll. Can I see it? Can I not see it? No, with a quick scroll, I can't see it right now. So we'll get to that another time. Anyway, let's do that. Sure, I think that was a good, speedy recap. What do you think? I think we got through it. We looked at some of the very interesting information coming out in this case right now with all these filings. It's always interesting when it gets closer and closer to the trial. All the filings that come out, all the new information we learn, and all of that, right? Emily Parkinson says using autism to get the death penalty off the table tells me he's admitting to guilt. It's interesting how people interpret things, right? Let me know what you think. Please also leave comments below because I do like to read all the comments after the show as well. Karen says they are throwing stuff out to see what sticks. Yeah, that would also be their job, right? Right? Okay, so let's see what else you guys say. Just Rose said he figured he covered his ass, so it was well thought out. Yeah, that could be. Who knows? Who knows? Obviously, he's innocent until proven guilty, and we shall wait to see what now happens at the trial. And yeah, I mean, how much more can come out? I'm sure a lot, but like before this trial, what else are we going to see? Because it's been quite a riveting time, especially in the last month or so. Adam Bluefire said this trial is going to be a shocking one. It's going to uncover all sorts of disturbing stories. Oh my word. Okay, well, everyone, thank you so much for being here. To check out these highlights of what's going on right now in the news. In this case, I will keep you posted. If you missed, I mean, we did deep dives on this case, especially when it first happened, and for quite a few months after that. And then we didn't actually, I didn't speak about it for a little bit because there wasn't something like huge, you know what I mean? And I just wasn't sure. But now this is like, to me, these things that are coming out now, yeah, it's pretty big. We need to talk about it. So I will keep you posted if there's more things to talk about. Make sure you also check out my video section. This is obviously the live stream section. I do also make videos for you, so go check them out over there because maybe I'll upload some document read-throughs and things or bits of news in this case, also YouTube shorts, community posts, all of that. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Moz. Really appreciate it. If you want to see me some more tonight, or today, tonight for me, it's almost 11 p.m. I will be on Court TV with Vinnie Politan at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. The way to watch it is not on YouTube, it's on the website, courttv.com, and you click Watch Live. If you are outside of the USA, I think the UK you can watch, but sometimes, like here in Switzerland, I can't watch it without a VPN. Put a VPN on, make it USA, and then you can hopefully watch, okay? So I'll be there at 9 p.m. If you want to see the segment from last night where I was on with Vinny talking about Madeleine Soto's case, I posted the link for you on my community tab, which is now called Posts, so go and find that, and also posted it on X as well. In fact, I posted the full video there, so if you want to go see it, go check it out. So if you want to see me more later, that's where I'm going to be at 3 o'clock in the morning my time. Then I'll take a nap after that. So thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate you all being here, and I will see you again very soon. Stay safe.